Welcome everyone to the Side Drive Podcast, and welcome to our Pennzoil 400 review from Las Vegas. We're not in Las Vegas, but the race was in Las Vegas, so don't get that confused there.
Because if I was in Vegas, I'd be broke.
We wouldn't be on this couch right now. I'd be on the floor. But we're going to be reviewing the race, and it was a very interesting race.
Yeah, I mean, really, we didn't know what to really expect, in the race, and everybody expected a pack racing, but it didn't have a whole lot of pack racing.
So to start off the weekend, Kevin Harvick wins the pole, Denny Hamlin outside pole, and we had an interesting qualifying session, which was a little controversial there with the 9 and the 88. They didn't make it to the scoring line in time, but if they could have, they would have been on the pole.
Yeah, so the way the draft and all that was during the qualifying, and everybody sitting on pit road, waiting and waiting. Okay, let's go. And then they just didn't make the final lap there. So
I mean, they had 5 minutes, so
yeah.
I mean that's
plenty of time. So
it's really no one's fault except for them, but it is a product of the new package, and I do think there might be some changes that would have to be made, maybe single car runs or something like that in the future.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see.
Yeah, because NASCAR just goes through and makes changes as it needed.
So to start the race, Kevin Harvick versus Denny Hamlin on the initial start. Harvick would lead lap 1 as Kyle Busch would make his way to second. And Austin Dillon, though, would pass Kyle Busch in a few laps.
Yeah, he really had a real strong car. He showed it during practice, and I thought he was just going to have a good day today.
Another strong car out there was Ricky Stenhouse. He would get around Kyle Busch. Early on, he had a strong car. Just wasn't there to dominate or win or anything, but he definitely had a front-running car.
Yeah, he definitely had a strong car. He didn't want to be a big controversial last week, a lap car in the way, but he didn't want to be in a lap car today. So
nowhere near it,
Nope. He stayed in the top 10 about most of the day.
So something I thought was interesting is Harvick got out to like a 4-second lead at one point in that first stage, and I thought that was impossible. The days of 3-second, 4-second leads are over. Maybe even 2 seconds, but no, and I think that is a good thing.
Yeah, maybe had his car set up really well beginning of the race, and everybody else, kind of missed it. But Kevin, he just left off where he did last year.
Yeah, and which he swept the stages last year. I do think it is very good for the package that it's not going to be 100% pack racing. There will be some really strong cars. Joey Logano slicing his way through the field as well at that point. And another car who probably would have been up there the entire time was Kyle Larson. He would have a pit road penalty for too many men over the wall, or should I say too many hands.
Too many hands over the wall. I mean, that's a weird penalty. If the crew member has his hand on the ground in the pit stall, he's considered an extra man over the wall. So that's just kind of funny.
And another too many hands over the wall for Austin Dillon, which is really unfortunate because him and Daniel Hemrick, they just dominated the practices, and which we didn't see much out of Daniel Hemrick in the entire race for some reason.
Well, his car was tight or what? They kind of dropped like a rock.
Then Austin Dillon, with that, horrible penalty, especially with this new package, not going to really make your way back up just like you could, even though we saw Kyle Busch do that later on.
Yeah, with no cautions, it couldn't really get back on the lead lap after that. So.
And another issue on pit road, Ryan Blaney, he would be back in for a second stop because he had a flat tire, which I'm not sure how that even happens because...
Yeah, I believe they said that they hit the valve stem and knocked the valve stem off, and that's unfortunate. I believe he had a strong car. He was coming toward the front, but just couldn't ever recover from that second pit stop. Yeah,
with the way that Joey and Brad was running, Blaney could have maybe finished 1, 2, 3 for Penske.
Possibly.
And then Daniel Suarez would stay out until the rest of the field would pit. And then after all that cycles out, Kevin Harvick would win stage 1, continuing on from last year.
Yeah, he just dominated the first stage.
So
everybody's like, "Oh no, it's gonna be a Harvick show again."
So on stage 2, pit stops, Keselowski only takes 2 tires, which I was really interested in seeing how that would play out.
Well, this is Vegas, so you need to take a gamble when you can, and especially early on, see if you can get your track position and see how the 2 tires is going to last.
Then Kyle Busch would be second, and Harvick would have like some water or something on his pit box and just couldn't.
I ain't sure what happened to his pit box, man. He's just like spinning like crazy just trying to get out of his box, and he just couldn't get no traction.
Yeah, he would have won the race off pit road
every time,
but he would just spin the tires, and it'd just take forever to get out of pit road.
Yeah, you know, they fixed his pit crew because used to they'd have trouble with his pit stall, but they fixed all that, and now
the pit stall is
now
the
the
problem.
tires just won't hook up. So I don't know what they ever figured out about that.
So the next restart would be Keselowski versus Busch, which I was like, when I wrote that, I was like, this is probably going to be Keselowski versus Busch.
Yeah.
Out of the car, but Keselowski would have a good launch despite having older tires, or half older tires, I should say. Then eventually Joey Logano would get around Brad for first place. Then would have this intense battle between Busch and Logano. And then using lapped cars, Busch would finally get around Logano.
Yeah, they would eventually touch a couple of times too. So, you know, they had a history here before, bumping and banging each other. So, I mean, I know they weren't trying to hit each other, but the way the air is around the cars, sometimes it's, you know, you can't help.
Yeah, and the way these cars are this year, it's full throttle. There's no way that you could just easily cruise right on by somebody. Have to wait for a mistake or use lap cars to your advantage.
Yeah, I saw a couple of times that Harvick, he just drive one hand. It's like,
yeah,
I'm going on Sunday drive, y'all.
Which, last year we saw him, full hands all on the wheel, almost losing it. Now this year it's like,
yeah.
So, really interesting to see all that. Wish we could see how everyone else was driving.
That'd be nice to see.
And then, Kyle Busch, too fast entering. Not something you want to do.
No, I saw him. He was coming in pretty hot and smoked his tires up and didn't get wound up enough in time. I was like, I bet he's going to be speeding on pit road, and definitely he was.
The police has pulled him over. Fine as some M&Ms.
Yeah.
Give us some M&Ms and you're on your way. Then
yeah, he'd have to go through a pass-through penalty. So, fortunately, since he was leading, he didn't go totally lap down, but
yeah,
I know at that point he did. But after they cycled through, he eventually never.
I think if we would have had last year's package, he would have definitely been 2 laps down. So that's one plus side from this package if you're a leader who accidentally makes a mistake on pit road. And then William Byron and Kurt Busch would stay out until they just couldn't no longer. And then Logano would take the lead again and win stage 2. Which that stage was a little more intense than the first stage.
Yeah, just had a few more lead changes, and it's like everybody's trying to fix their cars and get the handling right, and some strategy going on there. So it's pretty interesting stage there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of these teams don't know what to do, what type of changes to make. They don't have the in-car track bar adjuster, so it's going to be really tough first of the year, but I think by the time it gets to like the summer months, everyone's going to know what changes to make, and it's going to be more intense battles throughout all stages.
Yeah, pretty much whatever changes they got, that's what they're going to have.
So stage 3, Logano would win the race off pit road, and Harvick would still be spinning, but he would come out second. Kurt Busch would stay out, which, he stayed out the previous stage as long as he could, and then that got him the lead.
Yeah, he's going to do some pit strategy and try to get some track position, which kind of worked out in his favor.
Yeah, he had the lead for about a good 10 laps, even with Harvick right behind him. trying to get the lead. Eventually, Harvick would pass him, but those, tires didn't really mean as much as they normally do.
No, I believe these cars really handle well, and the tire fall off wasn't too bad.
So after Harvick would finally pass Kurt for the lead, Logano would just cruise right on by him because I think his tires finally fell off there. He would still be around the top 5 the rest of the run. Then Logano would just get this amazing run on the high line. I think he figured something out how to run the high line, and he just cruised right on by Harvick.
Yeah, I believe there's a few drivers out there today really hit on something, and so they don't get out their secrets yet. So it's pretty interesting to see how the next couple of races going to be.
So Kurt Busch would be the first to go on pit road. Kyle Busch would stay out a few laps. And then Stenhouse and Austin Dillon would stay out for a few laps there as the leaders. And then it would be Keselowski versus Logano after that point, which I thought Keselowski was just going to pass him and cruise on to a win just like Atlanta. But Logano just, as a champion, I think he's learned a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think, that was really what won him this race. Figured out what changes to make, made those changes, and got right back by Keselowski.
Yeah, really, with the new Mustangs, we would think that, a new body style, and body change and all, because see the Camaros, they had really trouble last year, but really the Mustangs, they really hadn't missed a beat yet.
Yeah, I was watching the live stream that Keselowski did on Facebook, and he said that it was definitely faster than the Fusion.
Wow, that's going to be interesting.
So definitely the opposite of the Camaros, which are still struggling besides Kurt Busch and Larson. I think they're pretty good, but Hendrick's still not top notch yet.
They're in the top 10 today, but they didn't really show a whole lot. I mean, they did better than last week, but I believe RCR's catching on some of it too. So.
Yeah, so if RCR with Austin Dillon, if they didn't have an issue there, I think Austin Dillon would have been competing for a top 5.
Yeah.
Maybe even the win.
Possible.
But with that, Logano would cruise on, or not necessarily cruise on to a win, but because Keselowski almost got him there at the end, he would win, first win at Las Vegas, and first win with the Pennzoil sponsor.
The Pennzoil sponsors the race, and Pennzoil sponsors him, and he told him, he's like, if they win, he's going to go and do a burnout on the emblem out there.
So with Logano winning, Kyle Busch, who was going for the sweep. Was he needing this? No, we don't need that right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Interrupting our podcast. Come on, man.
I know, some people just
come on.
So rude.
We need to really lock that door. But with that, Kyle Busch does not sweep the weekend, which he's the only one in history to ever do that, which is very impressive. Would have been the 3rd time he's done so.
Yeah, been pretty neat. Kind of close to his hometown, so it's always good to have that record to beat that record. So.
I think a lot of these drivers said, you're not getting that, Kyle Busch, and they really stepped up their game. But I do think the reason why Kyle Busch did not win was that issue he had on pit road. Still was able to rebound for a 3rd place finish.
Yeah.
So really good for him. And I believe Harvick finished in the same place as he did last time at Atlanta. And Brad was just one below. So
Brad finished his car number, and Harvick finished his car number. So
Kurt Busch is like, let me do that next week.
Well, maybe I need to do that.
But yeah, it was a really interesting race. What did you think of the package?
Well, I really liked the package, and I was really entertained through the whole race, and it didn't run any kind of boring in between there, because you got ones moving up, and I know lap traffic played a role in a lot of it with the leaders, and the leaders trying to get around. It kind of slowed them up, and the other cars would run up to them. But I applaud NASCAR. I think it's a good package.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be, but I was really impressed with what it was. And I do think it does need a little minor tweaks here and there, but so far, right direction.
Yeah.
But with that, it is time to announce our sponsor spotlight. And who is on the spotlight today?
Well, the main spotlight was kind of one leading the race and one sponsoring the race. So we're gonna do a big shout out to Pennzoil. They're a big deal in NASCAR, and we just want to appreciate having them in the sport and helping NASCAR.
Yeah, they sponsor Logano for an abundance of races throughout the year. So
yeah, and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, also Ryan Blaney. So
yeah, I actually picked Ryan Blaney. I know I picked the wrong Pennzoil car.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on this Friday for our fast picks for ISM, and we picked the wrong Penske car.
We knew Penske's going to win.
We're in the right organization, so
was close.
Haven't picked the right Cup winner yet. Came close. I came
Very close.
this close. So if I could just
a couple more laps, you know.
I almost got it. So I just want to thank my team. We'll get them next time. Make the right adjustments. So.
How awesome is it, a 1-2 finish for Penske?
Yeah, I do think Ford's definitely got something on because Harvick led the most laps. Penske was 1-2. Stenhouse up there. Almirola was also in the top 10. A lot of Fords. Toyota as well. They had Kyle Busch. Martin Truex, I don't know what happened to him. Like, he just disappeared at some point.
Yeah, he worked his way up to the front, and he kind of just slid back, and he finally got his way back up towards top 10, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 8th maybe,
yeah.
Somewhere. I think Martin Truex just needs to work on these little things. Whatever happened on that last restart, whatever happened in practice, because he was like 30th in practice. So if he can work on that, he'll win a lot of races as well.
Yeah. Somebody got scared that Ricky Stenhouse was up there.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Just joking. Don't block us, Martin Truex. But yeah, that is our review of Las Vegas. Join us next week for the ISM review of the Xfinity and Cup. And check out our Fast Picks on Friday. And Wednesday, this is going to be our first blooper episode. We're very excited.
Yeah, we're excited to mess up a lot.
Yeah. So you'll get to see kind of the mess ups we've had, the behind the scenes kind of thing, sort of.
And you kind of know why we don't live stream yet.
We're working on some live streaming stuff, so eventually we will, as long as we can talk like this and not like what you'll see on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have. If you have found the Dell Jr. in the thumbnail, let us know down below. If you didn't find him last week, here he is. And we'll see you for our ISM Raceway review next Saturday and Sunday. Was you needing this? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.